We had a problem. We wanted to increase the production value of our live streams at the performance horse events that we stream all over the United States without the increased cost of extra help, camera people, hotels, cables, running power cords, and all the headaches that come with adding additional cameras. That's when a colleague of mine introduced me to the BirdDog P200. He showed me that with one Cat5 cable connected over NDI over the network, he could control, receive video, and power that camera, all with one cable. Since then, we have now added 3 BirdDog P200s, the new PH120, as well as 2 BirdDog Studios, bringing them all over the NDI network with one input into our vMix production. This has been huge to help keep cables and help to a minimum, help keep our costs down and increase the production value for our client, which was our ultimate goal. As we travel from show to show, sometimes we only have a couple of hours to get set up. So having the ability to set each camera up with just one cable and not have to source out power outlets, power cords and everything else that goes along with it, it helped keep our setup time to a minimum while still allowing us to add more cameras for the production. The quality of the camera and the footage is incredible, and being able to control all these over the NDI network with one input makes it a no-brainer for us to use the BirdDog products. With the ability to place these cameras virtually anywhere, it allows us to bring in more camera angles and give us more freedom to place those cameras where we need them the most, whether it's an interview on the side of the arena or the action from up above or down below. We can capture any angle with minimum cables. When one of my dogs chewed through a cable, I emailed BirdDog to see if I could get a replacement cable. Within minutes, they emailed me back and said that they were sending a new replacement cable to the location we were at. It did not affect our production one bit. Thank you, BirdDog. At Performance Horse Central, we're always looking for new ways, better ways to increase our production. BirdDog has helped us do that and bring that quality to our clients. BirdDog, thank you very much. We couldn't do it without you.
Well, it is that time again, everybody. How you are doing? Well, my name is BirdDog Jon, and I am back in action.
In those scenarios, it's good to neuralize the cameras. You guys know that best.
Very straightforward. Plug it in, go to the web UI, link the source, walk away. You know, like super simple. I keep looking over at the chat, and I keep seeing you are full of it. Tasty, spicy meat snacks. Covered in flavor. I mean, you can't go wrong. So what's going on? We've got a handful of folks here in the chat, and I really appreciate that. What's up, mate? Hey, Warren, how are you? Appreciate it. Hey, Robbie, how's it going, man? You're just talking about you. What's going on, Tom? Ahoy. How is it going? What's going on, Go Web? Good to see you again. Thanks for hanging out with us again today. Appreciate that. Feel like I'm in this video more than anyone but John. It's true, NetApp. You are, I'm going to cut this up and put this in the next intro.
Everyone.
Yep, we're back again. This time we are barely back, but we are back. How's it going, everybody? I am BirdDog Jon. Thank you for joining us today on for another hour. At least we'll maybe just keep it to an hour. I don't know yet, but we'll find out. I also just realized that my monitor is showing the wrong feed. I want to listen here. Hey-oh. All right. So the audio sounds good to me. So if you're having audio issues today, that's kind of a you problem. You might want to check that out. No, let me know how it sounds. I'm really not that much of a jerk. Let me know how it sounds out there. I'm always interested to know. And, of course, constructive feedback is always welcome. I am drinking coffee today, and there's a good reason for that. We're going to need to keep that coffee flowing. So, yeah, we will definitely be drinking a whole bunch of coffee. All right, let's jump over and see what's going on. Randy's with the first comment today. Thanks, Randy. Thanks for that was almost 15 minutes ago. Well done. Hey, happy day, BirdDog Jon. But for real, what day is it? Been busy over there, Jer? Hey, I'll be back later. I have a demo. All right, well, thanks for chiming in. Really appreciate it. Audio's good for me, and see, that's all that matters, right? It's making it clean for you all the way out there. It's really all that I can ask. Pretty sure Senseless said something too, but it's not showing up in the list. So let me see if it's over on Twitch. Yeah, hey, it's John and Pandorica. Oh no, are the Twitch chats not coming? Oh no, there it is. Hey, it's John. Hey, what's going on, Senseless? What's going on, Pandorica? How are you? Hopefully you're doing well. Happy Tuesday morning. Hopefully you're feeling refreshed and not tired. Because I am. And we'll talk a lot about that in a minute. Hey, good morning from snowy New York City. Ooh, that's fun. What's New York City like when it snows? Do they all freak out, or are they like, and everything just keeps going? Michigan is slowly turning into that they care and that nobody wants to drive in it, and rightfully so. I mean, but there are some southern states that when it snows, the whole state shuts down, and that's comical to me because I grew up in the snow. So I don't understand that as to like you can't function if there's snow flurries in the sky. But yeah. But New York seems like it would function for the most part unless it really got hammered, and then it would shut down. Snowy in Aberdeen too. There you go. All around the world, everyone's getting snowed on. It's good coffee. All right, I need to change my play unit because I have it on the wrong feed. And it's not particularly by design. There it is. Let's log in. I should really program an API just to do this, right? Apparently there are programs out there where you can just push a button and, oh, hey, new camera angle. So I got tired of the PF120 staring through my microphone stand. And so I just moved it over there. And I think that looks pretty good. It gives now I have various vocal lengths. So yeah, hopefully that works. But it's a little cleaner shot. You can kind of see my desk. See, get this remote out of here. See my desk, and if it's clean, it actually is a little bit clean today. So there we go. Here is the apply the new output. It should be my multi-viewer. Problem is that, oh, there we go. Problem is if I view the actual video output, the picture's too big and I end up looking down all the time. It looks like I'm doing this and talking to the screen, which I don't like. I actually want to raise the screen up a little bit and get it to work. Now that PF120, this one is not smooth. Oh, it is when it's in. Nope. Yeah, something's up. Something's going on with that camera. All right, I'm going to check that out soon. Because got to keep things interesting around here. So I've switched over that vMix output, and now I've got basically the multi-viewer out of vMix showing on there. That looks pretty good. Snowy in New York City. I don't understand it, but I'm all in favor of staying in. There you go. I mean, I don't hate the idea of staying in. Just it's hard to get anything done, Morning, and there's a tiny bit of snow in Edmonton. Usually there's more than a tiny in Edmonton. Okay, so this camera, not this one. This one seems to be fine. But this PF120, whoa. What's going on here? Do I got something running? Maybe I got too many programs running. The CPU is loaded. So let's try and shut some things down here. Maybe that's my problem. Those programs, these all need to, this can be done now. Don't need that. I can close Chrome. Yeah, it's probably not the camera then. It looks like it's packet drops. Let's see. Oh. Yeesh. So it looks like my fiber connections, that would make a lot more sense. So it looks like my fiber connections did not turn on this morning. Why is that, I wonder? We go to connection properties, fiber 1. Oh. Wait, what? Yeah, they're on. Or maybe, man, I'm confused. Which isn't really, it's not really anything new, to be honest with you. Regularly confused. Okay, so, the ones that are connected are the fibers. Boy, Windows, you suck at making things like, no, wait. So yeah, I've got 2 gigs back to the switch from the computer. The CPU, according to vMix, is really overloaded. So maybe that has something to do with it, but that's not really anything new. So yeah, that's strange. I could go low bandwidth on these and see what would happen. Obviously, we know what will happen to the quality of the image. But if I lowered the bandwidth, boom, now the CPU is no longer struggle bussing. What's up with that? You know what? I'm not. Oh, that one's already in low bandwidth. Oh man, the fans just turned off on the computer too. That's all right. Time for a new machine. It sounds like, because it's not working very well. I'm busy this morning. I'll be popping in and out for a bit. Cool. Always a pleasure to have you, I guess. I ordered my 6 P400s last week. Fantastic. When are they slated to arrive? Excuse me. And how are you planning on using those? Curious to know about a little bit. You've probably already explained it. Okay, so my head's a little foggy, and it's almost 11:15, so I'll get into this first segment of the show. My head's a little foggy because I woke up in Orlando this morning, and I'm here for the show start, which was 11 o'clock, which I'm pretty proud that I actually made that happen. So here I am, but I've been up for many hours, and I did sleep on the plane. But those of you who have slept on planes, you know that was the highest quality sleep you could get. Please sense my sarcasm. So, yeah, there's that. But yeah, we definitely woke up in Orlando and had quite an ordeal getting here. There were probably a half a dozen ways that this morning could have gone wrong. And I told my guys in the office, maybe just as a ploy to get them to watch the show. I was only going to tell this story once, and so I was just going to save it but it's the whole saga of this morning. So suddenly I was awake. And no, my alarms went off, and they went off at 3 o'clock. So kind of hit snooze on that a few times, and then tossed and turned because I didn't want to miss anything. Oh yeah, this is that low bandwidth shot, by the way. But it is helping the CPU, and it's cooling down the computer. So 3:15-ish, I guess, I get up and take a quick shower and get all my things together and get down to the lobby at 3:50 because we had scheduled an Uber to pick us up to go from the hotel back to the airport. So I check out at 3:50 and I sit in the lobby. 3:55 rolls around. 4 o'clock rolls around. Robert's supposed to be down in the lobby with me at 4. That was the last I had heard. So I message him, nothing. I call him, and it goes to voicemail. And then a couple minutes later, he's like, yeah, the Uber's still not here yet. It'll be a few more minutes. And I was like, okay, cool. So 4:10 rolls around, and then I open my phone, and it says, your flight's not boarding at 6. It's leaving at 6. So I lost a half an hour because I can't read. So that's cool. Now, the good news is Roberts was also leaving boarding at 5:30 and leaving at 6. So we really did need to be there on time to make that happen. So Robert came down and was like, they keep canceling on me over and over and over. And he said, it's still another 9 minutes out and somebody's finally accepted. So I was like, okay, well, there's not much we can do about it other than maybe I order one and see who gets here first, right? So anyway, in Orlando, a lot of the streets are like cobblestone because they don't have terrible weather that would destroy your vehicle. In that sense, they don't have snow, but they have hurricanes. So, anyways, everything's the cobblestone for some reason. Anyways, his car, the Uber is coming to pick us up, and he's doing like 12 miles an hour. I don't understand. And he's slowly pulling into the parking lot for the hotel and like coming around and coming into the little awning, slowly creeping through. And we were like, that's weird. So Robert has a bag that he needs to check, but he's got a backpack and I have a backpack. So he goes to the back of the trunk so the guy can pop the trunk. And the guy like rolls his window down. He's like, oh, you have to put that inside the vehicle because somebody messed up my trunk. And Robert's like, okay. So he throws the bag on the far seat and he goes to get in. So I go around to the passenger side of the driver's side. I'm like, hey. And I go to open the door and his front passenger seat is just full of stuff. Like just so full. I was like, hey man, are you going to have room for me to, like the Uber is actually for 4 people. So I was like, are you going to have room in here for like me and my stuff? And I was like, or am I going to, do you need me to squeeze in the back? And he's like, yeah, in the back. I was like, okay. So I told Robert, I was like, I'll hold my bag and I'll sit behind him. And then you can sit with your big bag there. And he rolled the passenger seat up a little bit. So anyways, off to a good start. So you get driving and the dude starts doing 12 miles an hour out onto the road. And he like turns the corner. We don't think much of it. But then he's doing 12 miles an hour down a 25, which is slow to begin with for a Michigander. But yeah, that was slow. It was painfully slow. And so like 10 minutes into this thing, Robert goes, excuse me, sir, is there a reason why you're driving 12 miles an hour? And the guy says, oh, the cobblestone roads, they'd ruin your car if you drive 25. Robert's like, but the speed limit is 25, right? I'm like on my phone, like, oh my gosh, I can't. I was also kind of on my phone because the car had like a pretty strong smell of cigarettes. And the windshields were just all fingerprints. And I thought, pretty sure that we were going to die at 3 a.m. and whatever. Well, anyways, he's like going through all these back roads to get out to the highway. And then the highway that it spits him out, he's got to come all the way back to basically the main road where we were on. And then he got on the highway and went. So what was going to be like a 20-minute trip ended up being 45 minutes. And Robert was not happy about that. So Robert had like rolled his window down because it was just the smell of cigarettes was so strong, and we're both just not used to it. So, anyways, whatever. And then he gets on the highway and he gets going, and I think on the GPS it said the speed limit was 65. He was doing 50, and the people beside us were doing 80. So they're like flying down the road. And this is like 4:30 in the morning. And my flight starts to board at 5:30. So I was like, oh man, as long as things are moving to the airport, we'll be all right. So we get into, like, the guy pulls up to the airport. He pulled up to the wrong terminal, but thankfully in Orlando, Terminal A and B are like sandwiched together. So you just walk through Terminal A and get over to B. So Robert pulled that up on his phone because we had arrived at the wrong terminal and the guy was slow, like doing 15 miles an hour again and like parking behind people and then like going around them and parking behind. It was so weird, so bizarre. So Robert was like, it's okay. You can just let us out here. And so it's like, all right, cool. We jump out. He grabs his bag. We shut the doors. We go inside and Robert's like, all right, I got to go check this bag. So I'll see it. And I was like, what's with all these people everywhere? Like, it's so early. Why are there so many people here? He's like, this is Frontier Airlines. And they're all waiting to check bags for Frontier. And I was like, whoa, that's probably close to 300 people in this front of the terminal. It's just packed full of people in front of the Frontier entryway. I thought, man, that's weird. So I look and I'm going to Terminal B. So I was like, there's the sign for B. So I just book it through. And then they have big signs that show which gates which gate you're going for. So I checked my phone, headed to 72. So I was like, all right, headed over there. So I'm headed towards 72, and it's like, pre-check and TSA. I don't have anything like pre-check or Nexus or anything like that. So I'm just looking for the main gate, and it says gate 70 to 120 over here, and then 1 to 70 over here, and hell, these giant signs like, all right, 70 to 120. I go over there, and I swear to you, there was probably 500 people waiting to get through TSA. There were 7 lines with easily 75 people in each of them, easily, and the lines are not moving. They're not going at all. And there's a big sign at the front that says average wait time 40 minutes. I was like, oh my gosh, 40 minutes. So I just picked a line and I said, okay, I'm just gonna make the best of it. And if I miss it, I miss it, and I gotta do whatever I can. So we're inching up, one person at a time. Well, when I get up to the TSA lines, they have 2 TSA lines, queuing lines for 1 agent. You would think it would be opposite. 2 agents for 1 line, right? No. I know what'll speed up this process. Let's double the amount of people one guy has to see and make everybody then alternate. And so the line doesn't really move. It just kind of steps, like you're doing this step forward for forever. So as I'm standing in line, I'm getting a little closer. The sign keeps changing. Now expected wait time, 35 to 45 minutes, 40 minutes to 50 minutes. And then eventually it was 1 hour expected wait time. And I was really close. When it said 1 hour, I was probably 6 people back. Well, 12 because, you have 2 lines. Anyways, then we get through, and it was 5:20 when I saw the TSA agent this morning. And I had to get my flight started boarding at 5:30, and I needed to be on it at 5:50. So I get through the TSA thing. He's like, "You're traveling alone?" I hand him my ID, scan my thing. He's like, "Okay." I had all my crap in order. I walk right through, and then there's another queue line that goes it's like a theme park, goes back and forth, and then goes to the scanners. The scanners were running, they were doing pretty well. So that line took maybe half the time, but there were 2 scanners per TSA entry point, right? So you had 2 lines converging down to 1 TSA agent, which was creating 1 TSA line. And then that was going into 2 TSA scanners. I could not figure out the logic behind this, because if you had another guy at each of the booths, this would go a lot faster, a whole lot faster, because the lines for the scanners were moving pretty well. So anyways, I stood in that line for probably 15 minutes, walking through the queue, and then went in and put my stuff. Well, I had some BirdDog plays in my bag. So I put my bag up there, and they said anything smaller than a cell phone can stay in your bag. Laptops come out, cell phones come out. Put my stuff in the bins, walked right up. And she was like, "Do you have any other electronics in your bag?" And I was like, "Well, I have 2 little boards that are about yay big, but they're smaller than a phone." So that's what the guy said. If they're smaller than a phone, don't take them out. She was like, "Is it a tablet though?" And I was like, "No." She's like, "Is it a device?" I was like, "Well, yeah." She's like, "Okay, where are they?" And I was like, "They're in my bag, but they're small. They're really small. I probably shouldn't need to take them out, right?" She's like, okay, I guess. So she just scoots it through. Anytime you say, "Yes, I have a device, but it's smaller than my phone," they're going to think maybe you should take it out of there. I was like, I don't want to do that, because there was 5 of them in there. So I go through the scanner. The guy pats me down because I'm wearing a sweater, and he takes my hat off and whatever. And then he spits me out. He's like, "Okay, have a good day." So in Orlando, once you get through TSA, then you have to go to the, what do they call them? Airways. So you have to take the tram to where the gates are. And so there are the 2 terminals, and then there are several of these little gate pockets things that you have to take the train to. Like, what happens if a train breaks down? Anyways, trains were running this morning, and the line at TSA was going so slow that the train pulled up, and I was first one on, and there were like 3 people in the car that I was in, and then a few others in the other cars. So the car was pretty much empty. It took me right there, and I got out of the tram at 5:48, and I thought, there's a good chance I'm going to get there and the door's going to be closed. And as I'm like walk hustling up down the little path, and I go over to the gate, I come around the corner to gate 72, and the guy is standing there, and the announcement's going off, and it's like, last call for the flight to Detroit, gate 72 will be closing the door in 1 minute. And I come around the corner, I have my pass, I just rested on the thing. It's like, ding. He's like, hey, welcome aboard. And I just walk right in. Oh, and he printed me like this ticket because my seat had changed. And I walked down the thing, completely empty. Plane was loaded. Everyone was on. Just me. And I walk down, go through the plane, walk up to my seat assignment, and then swapped a seat with a lady that wanted to sit with her son. So I was like, okay, man. I sat down. I could not believe I had waited in line. I had been there. Oh, jeez. And what's crazy to me is that there are so many people needing to get through that line. But when I got on the plane was full. So those folks had been there. They must have known Orlando Airport. I had never been to the Orlando Airport. And Robert's not really a fan of Orlando, period. And I couldn't figure out why he detested it so. But, man, that airport was rough. So rough. TSA wait times. So MCO is the Orlando Airport. And the wait times, oh my word. The current check wait times. This is a cool little app. I guess, so Tuesday, between 5 and 6. No, liars. These dudes lie. Because this says average wait time between 5 and 6 is 17 minutes. Wrong. There's no way. I know that spring break is around this time, right? We know that people are on vacation and whatever, but the place was packed. There was easily, at my entry point, there was easily 500 people, and they kept shuttling more lines over to these other areas that, were accepting people. But what would happen is the TSA guys would check through, I don't know, 24 people, and then they would stop checking people. And the TSA agent would then turn around in his seat and talk to the people waiting to get scanned and like give them the spiel, right? Like, take your electronics out. And if you're over 75, don't take off your shoes. And if you're under 16, don't take off your shoes. And everyone else take your belts off and empty your pockets. And it was so crazy. And I thought, well, no wonder the line doesn't move, because you're checking 2 lines per agent, and then he stops every 10 minutes. He stops checking people. So I really hope, apparently there's some $60 million that's going into MCO to make your MCO experience better. I saw it on one of the signs as I was waiting for TSA. Yeah, hopefully that 60 million is going to go to improving the entry method, because that was brutal. It was brutal. So I got on the plane, and that was fine. I had a window seat right next to the engine, so I knew it was going to be a little loud, but no big deal. Well, this engine fires up. Oh my gosh, it rattled the whole plane, and I thought, is it going to do that the whole time, or is it just going to get up to speed? So we kind of taxied out, right? And that was fine. That was fine. Then we hit the runway. A plane landed, and when it got halfway down the runway, our guy got onto the runway to take off, because obviously there's a plane coming, and he just gunned it. And that engine, oh my word, that engine! I put in noise canceling headphones. I turned on the noise canceling function and I turned it up to 90%, and I could still hear pretty much everything. So that was a doozy. And you get kind of used to it after a while. Like once you get up to 30,000 feet, whatever. So as we're climbing, just so thankful to be on this flight. As we're climbing out, and it's 6,000 or 7,000 feet, this poor baby, oh my gosh, she started screaming because the altitude change was obviously causing her pain. And I don't know if like the mom had just given up on life or what, but oh my gosh, every time we changed altitudes, that kid would scream murder for 20 minutes. And it was a 2.5 hour flight. So we changed altitude. We went up to like 10,000 initially. Well, we flew at like 3,000. I thought the engine was going to fall off. We like made a turn and we went up to 10. We made another turn, went to 17. Then we were going pretty much straight. We got out of the Jacksonville airspace, and then we went up to somewhere in the 20s, and then eventually up to 37,000. And every time we changed altitudes, that kid just hollered. She could not handle it. And I was just like, look, I understand that, people have to take their poor little infants on airplanes. And I think everyone around was fairly understanding. But that kid, man, I felt so bad for the kid and all the people in our section, because especially people without noise canceling headphones. So the kid started going. After I kind of got over the engine thing, the kid was screaming, and I turned it up to 100, and my music was peaking. It was playing so loud. It's trying to drown out all the noises that we're having, because I was going to try and sleep. Well, until we got up to 37,000 feet, I did not sleep. And eventually the kid, I think, passed out from all the exhaustion of crying. And then I fell asleep during a second 1 hour podcast, which means that I was awake for more than an hour. We were clearly over Nashville by that point, if that's when I fell asleep. But, man. So we got to Detroit, and I walked into McNamara Terminal, and you just don't know how good you have it. McNamara, it was like quiet. Everybody's like, it was very like orderly. Everyone was kind of having a good morning. The sun was coming through. They got these windows on both sides that go all the way down the McNamara Terminal. Like the sunshine was coming through, and there's like a light dusting of snow, and you just don't know. You just don't know. So the end of the journey was, then I was like, oh, well, yeah, I'll explain that part later. But part of the saga was I had a hard time finding bathrooms on this trip. So I was at a window seat, so I wasn't able to get up and use the restroom without disturbing two guys and one guy who was passed out sitting next to me. And he was like pushing it. He like had his legs, excuse me, his legs were so wide that it was like really uncomfortable. I was like, dude, do you have like a tumor or something that's not able to bring it in a bit? And he didn't have the armrest up, so I was sitting uncomfortably next to him, and he was like spread out. This is so weird. Anyway, so I'm walking towards the exit of McNamara Terminal, and there are several, men's rooms along the way. So I go into one, and there are like TSA queues again at the bathrooms. So I was like, oh, not going in there. I went to every one. They were all full, like all this, everything. Crazy. I was like, well, forget this. I'll just find something later. So left, called a Lyft or an Uber or whatever, and made the mistake of standing out in the cold because I had just come from 65 degrees at 4 a.m. To not 65. It's 24 degrees. So the guy was like, oh, if you have a ride share, just go out there and stand there, and he'll pull up. And I was like, perfect. The guy was on his way, but I got out there, and he was still like 8 minutes out. So I walked out, stood there, and I thought, this was a dumb idea. Just so anxious to get going that I'm standing in the cold, and I can feel like my blood vessels starting to get colder, and my limbs are starting to get numb. So, man, he couldn't show up fast enough. And when you're waiting and you're watching the app, if you've used Lyft, and the little car is like coming around the airport, but it's taking forever. And it's like, it'll be here in 3 minutes. And 5 minutes later, it's like, it'll be here in 2 minutes. Anyway, guy picked me up. This guy did not slow down for anything. I'm pretty sure he was Russian, and he learned to drive in Russia. Because it was like a cannonball run, is what this felt like on the way back to the office. So, and then he got into Bloomfield Hills. If you know Michigan at all, he got into Bloomfield Hills, which is not plowed very well, and so I could totally feel this little. For what was it? One of those hybrid electric cars. Crap, can't remember. It'll be on my app. Anyways, he was like slipping and sliding around there, but he's gracious enough to take me back to the office. So, obviously, I paid for it, but that was Prius. That's what it was. So he brought me in a silver Prius. And that's like, well, if I die at this point, it's been quite the journey home. Oh, man. What a trip. That was just today. That was just my morning. So I like slumped into the office. Like, oh, man. Everybody's like, hey, you made it. I was like, barely, guys. I barely made it. What was the device? A play? Yes, it was a play. 5 of them. 2 of them out of box, broken open. So that would have been sketchy if I had to take those out and explain it. Also, I thought it was odd that, so I took my belt off and I took my shoes off at TSA and I put them in a bin. And then my 2 devices, I have an iPad and a computer. I put those in a bin. And the lady took my shoes out and put them on the conveyor belt and pushed them through separately. And then when I got to the other side, the shoes were back in the bin. I was like, seems like you guys need to have a chat about where the shoes go. I didn't really care. I was really focused on getting on the tram. And I will say this, the Orlando trams seem to be running, at least when I saw them, back and forth where one leaves and the other one's showing up. So kudos there, whoever's figured that. If you could then go back and program the rest of the airport to be that efficient, I would support that decision for sure. I'm back. Welcome back, Jeremy. How'd the demo go? What are we supposed to be learning about here? BirdDog products? Travel stories? Yes, Jesse. You're going to hear it all. It is a whole grab bag of whatever. Today, little BirdDog travel stories. We'll put it that way. About BirdDog products. I was traveling in an effort to help an installation. We can talk about that too. First world problems, John. It's true. All this travel via air across the country before the world wakes up. It is pretty astounding. But it's not without its adventures. The coffee was good. They did have coffee, and of course Delta has those legendary like biscuits, and so those were good. Those were highlights of the morning. And now this cup of coffee, not brought to you by Ember Mugs. Keep your coffee hot and your creamer curdled. This coffee is also very good. I made this coffee. Maybe not very good. Maybe I went a little too far. Yeah, not very good. But it is hot and it's coffee. Those are my standards this morning. That sounds exhausting. We're going to find out. I think this afternoon we're really going to find out how exhausting that was because, let's see. It is almost noon, which means that I have had a 9-hour day so far. So, yeah, let's see. Let's see how... come back with your Ember mug in hand. Right here, man. This is where it's at. The mug, I think the battery's going to die before I'm done drinking coffee today because I got a whole pot to get through. I was joking out in the lobby. I was like, maybe I should just take the pot of coffee in the show and just be sipping off the side of that because that is about the amount of coffee I'm going to need to function. So Clay's helping me out with a problem. Oh, excellent. The computer's still dropping frames on NDI. Despite changing the switch, the OS, the NIC, cables connecting to the P200. So your computer is dropping frames? It's curious. I'm going to change this camera back to full bandwidth because that... Let's see what it does to the CPU. So far, so good. Oh, overload. Well, that didn't take much. So curious. The computer on the HDMI output of that camera, that's nice and clean. There's no issues there. So make sure you don't have an issue at the endpoint, obviously. But then, yeah, we need to troubleshoot that network connection, I guess. If you've got a gig, at least, from your computer into your switch, that's sufficient bandwidth for a single P200. Oh, P200s, it says. Okay. Coffee helps. That could be the title of today's show. Dino shows frame rate inconsistency coming from both the P200s, but get this, the graph looks nearly identical. It really makes me think that it's a computer problem. The P200s work beautifully over SDI. Yes, so Dino is really going to test the ability of your machine that you're running Dino on. It's not going to test the cameras necessarily. It's primarily used to make sure that your computer is able to handle the bandwidth. On that, on the NIC connection, can you tie like two NIC connections together to create a trunk? So like you marry them together and then on the switch, you lag those ports. That might give you a better tandem bandwidth than trying to do it over two individual IPs. If that's, I don't know how you have it set up, but 10 gigs. Oh, is it true 10 gigs? Like from the computer to the switch? I mean, that's plenty if that's the case. Two P200s. And in Studio Monitor, it's clean. In both low bandwidth and in low bandwidth, Studio Monitor is clean. Is it dropping frames in vMix or is it dropping frames in Studio Monitor? That's an interesting question. vMix shows tons of drop frames. Yeah, don't use vMix's reader because we're not 100% sure how they do it. So if you're watching that, you're going to see all sorts of stuff. But are you actually seeing like frames dropped in the image? Or are you just going off of vMix? SDI is clean. Haven't tried HDMI. They'll be the same. That's baseboard output. So SDI and HDMI should be fine. They're not independently encoded. It's an i9 9900, 32 gig RAM. Yeah, I tried doubling up the connection. No change there. SFP plus NIC. What are the mods that you're using? 10 gig DAC to switch. The SFP plus modules, you're going fiber to fiber, right? You're not doing those stupid RJ45 things. Do SFP plus to LC mod to SFP plus LC. Because those copper ones tend to underperform massively. And then they get really hot. Hopefully you're not using those. I haven't checked Studio Monitor. The frames are dropping in vMix. But you can like literally see the image dropping the frames. Because that's what we're going for. SFP plus to plus cable. SFP plus. Is it like the pre-molded SFP plus stuff, or is it the actual? Sounds like it's the pre-molded one. This way. Oh, DAC is copper. That might be the issue. Because I don't like SFP plus to copper. I just don't. I have some in in the switches out there, and no RJ45 involved nor fiber. See, my best results with the SFP Plus is fiber. That's what this switch, or I'm sorry, these two NIC cards, which are running in tandem, are running to the 4250 over fiber. And then I'm doing just, 10G Tech, 10 gig fiber mods. They're supposed to be the highest possible bandwidth with the lowest possible power consumption. SFP Plus to Ethernet is definitely a bad idea. Preach. That I agree. Yeah, direct attached copper. Yeah. I don't know. Then I don't. So I don't. Do you have a do you have a brand that you bought? I mean, maybe I'll order one and run some tests over here because I don't use them. That's just not SFP plus stack. 10G Tech has some actually. I just need a little jumper is all I need. One at 2 meters, $15. How long is yours? Oh man. Uh, so funny story. On Sunday, I was helping one of the congregations out that I work with, and was running their soundboard, and I love doing that. It's like one of my, well, I love doing that. Anyways, running their soundboard. So I ordered these like strips from Ursa to mount a lapel microphone under the shirt of the minister. And I had been doing some research on various ways to mount lapels and whatever, because we hate getting it like right close to his shirt, like under his beard and everything. We want to eliminate all that, right? So how do they do it in theater? How do they do it for acting? How do we do it to make this done right? So I thought, okay, I'm going to buy these little Ursa strips, which are like moleskin strips, and then I'll just mount it under his shirt, and we'll try it out. We'll see how that mount goes, because for $15 you can't go wrong. So anyways, I ordered these things. They showed up here last week. I stuck them in my bag, took them to the service on Sunday. Well, I get them out. I like set up the sound. We were running stuff with the team, whatever, and the preacher hadn't arrived yet. So I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna grab those." And I grabbed the strips out, and I pull them out. They're literally just sticky strips. They're not moleskins. I bought the wrong thing. And so I took it out of the bag, and I was like, "What is this?" And I read the label. I thought, "Oh crap! I ordered the wrong items." So I found gaff tape, and I did the triangle gaff tape trick with lapels. You know what that is? So you cut a little piece of gaff tape that's like yay big, right? And you fold it end over end to make a triangle, and you do that twice. And then in the actual triangle, right? So the triangle's like this. In the triangle, you lay the lapel mic like this, and then you put the other triangle on top of that. So it creates like an actual, sticky outside, but protecting the microphone and leaving the end of the capsule open. And then you stick that underneath the shirt, just along the whatever, and it's gaff tape, so it won't leave much of a residue. It shouldn't leave a residue. Anyway, so we stuck that on the minister and tried it that way. And that worked pretty well. That room has some unique issues, which I haven't spent the time to really iron it all out. But we really had to play with his mids because we were getting feedback in the 2000 realm. But it was cool. And then when I realized I ordered the wrong strips, then I promptly ordered the next one. So they're at my house now. And I guess I'm going to run audio on Sunday. So we'll give it another go. I'm running audio on this Sunday, and then I'm running audio in Nashville the next Sunday. And who knows what the future holds, but I'm turning into a busy weekend guy. Just going everywhere. Just a couple feet. I can try fiber instead of SFP plus mods. Oh, instead with SFP. That's what my rig is. I don't normally have an issue. Where I have an issue is my CPU overloading in vMix. That's when I start dropping frames. But I'm running fiber to my machine, dual fiber in a bridge mode, and it's working great. So, and if the SDI is clean on the 200s, yeah, then I really do think that there may be an issue. Are you on NDI 5 by any chance? And if you are, try changing the jumbo frames, like the actual QoS, to 1500. Because I think it defaults to 9600 on, especially if you're using a 4250. But change it to 1500 and see if that helps. Because there was a change in NDI 5 where used to be NDI 4, they would say turn QoS off because we don't want any inspections. But then with NDI 5, there were some tests that were done that showed that running at 1500 on each of your ports seemed to make things smoother in an asymmetrical format, by the way. So frame size is 15. Yeah, okay. So With fiber, honestly, I haven't really noticed a performance difference with distance. So 25 feet should be fine. I think the ones that I'm having here are 20 feet at least, and then the ones that go from the headroom to my office or to the agent office, those are like 50 footers, and we don't have any issues with those. So anyways, yeah, it'd be great to try if you had the opportunity to plug in fiber SFP, fire it up and see how it goes. I have great results with that configuration. I'm told that DAC often does not negotiate speed correctly. Really? Interesting. I didn't know that. Thanks for that little tip, Michael. I'll keep my eyes open for that. NDI5, yes. Unmodified NDI5 profile in 4250. Yeah. So go on the UI interface for that switch. You can force it to be. Let me look at mine because I want to be sure. It was something that we tested, and I put it on this one, and again, it seems to be pretty consistent. Whoa, my brain just, I've been typing the same IP address range for like 24 hours. So I went to type an IP address and my brain was like, oh, don't you mean? But no. Okay, so under port configuration, yes. Under port configuration, highlight all the ports, frame size 1500, flow control symmetric. And then hit apply. And then see what happens. That is how I have this switch set up that you are seeing these cameras on right now. Pretty sure frame size 1500. Yeah, just a cable management thing for me. Oh, yeah. I gotcha. Okay, so the story for why I was on an airplane this morning was because on Sunday night I flew down to Orlando for the first time ever. I've never been to Orlando. So I flew down to beautiful Florida, where the people are very nice. I had a wonderful Lyft driver from Haiti on my way from the airport to the hotel, and he told me a very heartbreaking story about how his country is basically run by criminals. And how he would love to go back, but if he went back, then he would be considered an educated man because he has a degree from the University of Massachusetts out of Boston, and they don't treat educated people very nicely in Haiti these days. So I was shocked to learn all of that, mostly because back in the day, like 20 years ago, there were like a lot of mission trips over to Haiti and stuff. Like it was a different country, but I guess they've had some assassinations as of late, and things are not going so well. Anyways, had a great lift over from the airport with my Haitian friend, and then went to the next day. Woke up and went to a beautiful performing arts facility. Which, if you ever have the chance to go to Orlando, and you're not doing the Disney thing, well, kind of, there is a performing arts center called the Dr. Phillips Performing Arts Center in Orlando. And this place is crazy state of the art. The theater spaces that they have in that joint are like so acoustically precise that they have to train the audiences to how to behave so that it doesn't screw up what happens on stage, because anywhere in the room is like acoustically perfect. It's so insane. So I just got a glimpse of the auditorium. I wanted to go and take a photo, but I didn't get a chance. But we were just working in the lobbies and in the back like corridors and stuff, and even those places were great. And then we finished up in the lobbies. There are 4.5 floors of lobby areas that's basically like all glass and these beautiful staircases, very much so like a Disney setup. And there are 2 theaters. There's one that was phase 1. I think it's called like the Steinman or something like that. And then there was another one, which was the Walt Disney Theater. And they have these 2 performing spaces. So if you ever have the chance to just go and tour the place, I strongly recommend that you go and if you're there on a like with fellow nerds, go and ask if you can have a technical tour, because the guys that are running that operation over there, it's so crazy. It's really, really bizarre, all the things they can do. The whole auditorium can be reconfigured as like a big open banquet floor, or like a theater, or it can be just a standard like movie theater or Broadway theater or an orchestra, like for music or for bands. I guess the Orlando Philharmonic plays there, and they have groups that come in from all over the country to play. And it is the only place. What did he say? The guy that I was with, he had said it's the only place that has the ability to do the concerts and the venues and all the things in the world. There's like 5 places total that can do one set of things, and like 3 places total that can do the other set of things perfectly. And this is the only venue in the world that can do all of it. And it was just crazy. The venue was called the Dr. Phillips Performing Arts Center in Orlando, Florida. And we were there because they are using the BirdDog Play as a way to show video in the lobby areas. So it's like non-critical, non-IMAG stuff. And, given the price point, it was the answer for how to make that happen. And so, yeah, they've got all these plays there, and they've got an NDI network, and they're sending NDI signals through some encoders, through some minis. And yeah, it's very, very impressive stuff. So yeah, I definitely got to walk around there. I wore a BirdDog shirt, and I had a little visitor badge and felt very official. But I was there with Robert, who's one of our sales channel managers, and he knows his stuff too. And yeah, it was very impressive to spend the day over there with one integrator and the guys that work at the venue. So I played Dr. Phillips before it got redone when I was a child. I grew up there. It sounds absolutely amazing. So the cool thing was, I completely agree, Facebook user. This would be here. I'll find out who it was, and I'll actually address you by name. Josh. Oh, hey, Josh. What's going on? Yeah. So the lobby, it has like umpteen thousand lights, and I was working there all day. All day we were there. We started at 8 o'clock in the morning, working in the lobbies, working whatever. And then we went downstairs to their main server room, and we were down there for a couple of hours working on stuff. Well, when we came back up, the sun was going down, and all the lights were on, and the whole lobby looked different. And not just like that there were lights on. No, the way that they had it set up made the whole entryway, made everything, even the wall coverings and stuff, it's all designed to be transformative. And it was such a cool idea, and like a really fun space to work in. Now, some fun facts about yesterday. I didn't sit down once until like 6:30 in the afternoon, or maybe it was like 5, I can't remember. We were down in the server room, we were doing a bunch of stuff, and I was talking to the integrators, and Robert and I were working on the play stuff, and then I sat down, and my hamstrings were just on fire. They were in so much pain. Matter of fact, they're still really sore. So that was a doozy. And yesterday, I didn't use a restroom until 10:30 at night. All day. Which means we didn't eat lunch yesterday. And we ate dinner at around 9 o'clock. So we just kept going. And honestly, there was just lots to do. There was a lot to talk about and a lot to get done. And we just wanted to give him a hand. So that was it was a tall order. And there's a lot of work to be done, but I think they're moving in the right direction. And they were having some video playback issues in the lobby and whatever, and so we got that kind of sorted out. But there was a lot to do, and they have a lot of plays, and so there was a lot of units to address. But anyways, that was good. And I'm officially back. Had a good flight down there, although it did get delayed by 2 hours. And the excuse we got was the Jacksonville airspace is too busy. So the FAA was like, just push all the flights back. So I flew out on what I thought was a late flight, but it was going to be like 6 p.m. I was going to get down there by 8:30, and they pushed it back a couple of hours. So I didn't get there till like 9:30, or almost 10 o'clock at that point. So I just went straight to the hotel and went to bed because I was tired. And we had an early start the next day. But anyways, so good times. And we met up with the integrator. His name's Rich. And he had said, yeah, he had a late night flight yesterday and it got bumped 2 hours. And so he didn't get in until 3 in the morning or something like that. And then he stayed all day. He worked 16 hours yesterday. So he looked beat when we fed him some pizza. He looked so tired. And I was like, don't blame you. So what an adventure. It was fun times, everybody. Hopefully. It'd be great to just tour these places and not necessarily be there to fix problems, but I am a support guy, so that's what I do. All right, well, yeah, so the Dr. Phillips Performing Arts Center, it is pretty awesome. And kudos to the guys that are down there that are working on that. It's constantly in like phase mode. So they're in phase 2 or 3 right now. And it's kind of a perpetual project. But Rich was telling us last night that he said the guy that designed it 20 years ago. And he is just now able to put it together and share it and whatever. So here, let me see if I can share this screen. Excuse me. I don't know if you can see that. I'll try and make that larger. All photos. How do I make it larger? Bigger. See photos. I hate that. Google, take that away. I don't like that. Okay, so yeah, this is the space. And I walked past this auditorium yesterday. This is the Walt Disney Theater. And yeah, all of these chairs are all on basically mechanisms, and they can fold them down, and then the mechanisms like rotate over, and then they can all line up and make a flat floor. The orchestra pits the same way, I guess, so they can have like a big banquet or whatever if they wanted. But yeah, this was the space and I walked through that little corridor over there. Can you see my mouse? On the far side on the bottom. I just walked past it and saw all those blue chairs. The other room is not blue chairs, I believe. I think it's this one, yeah. So, insane. They have this running ticker of like the thank you donors screen. And I think the smallest donation is $1,000, but the biggest one is like $10 million or something like that. So, yeah, I think if you donate 10 mil, you get to put your name on a thank you slide. Yeah, there. The Steinmetz Hall or whatever. Or was it? Crap, I just saw it. This. Steinmetz Hall celebrates the opening of the Dr. Phil Center. So this is phase 1. And then the Walt Disney Theater, which is this one, opened up as phase 2. They were saying that they're doing a lot of lawn events because in Florida, in Florida, you don't have outdoor like concerts and things in the summer, obviously. So they do a lot in the fall and the spring. And so they made this whole outdoor space so that they could have lawn events at the Performing Arts Center. And I was working behind these windows yesterday overlooking the lawn. Actually, I have photos. Maybe I should pull that up. Let me see if I can show you them from here. Sign in. Boo. I can't do it from here. Maybe I can do it on my other. That's why I have two computers, folks. Open Chrome. Open this profile. I took a couple of pictures. They have these like executive suites where it's, it's like the top donor area. And where are we here? Do-do-do. Yeah, so this one. Is this all I took? Maybe I need to sync my photos. Anyways, yeah, this space was just unbelievable. So cool to see what people are doing. This one I can share with you at least. Put this up on the second screen. And is my second monitor working? Yes, it is. So let's stop this. And we'll make this full bandwidth so you can see it. So this is one of the executive. This is like the executive suite, the owners. I forget what they're calling it, but basically it's where they go. I'm standing behind a bar, and all the booze are just up on the wall. Like nobody's watching it. It's just all up there. And then there's that front lawn area that if you can see out the window, that like whole front lawn space. So they can have like festivals and stuff out there. So I tried to grab a halfway decent photo of it because it was just crazy. And they have these 75-inch TVs that are, well, you can barely see them. They're just on the right side of the. They have one on both sides, but they're 75 inches, and there's a BirdDog Play plugged into the back of it. And they're just feeding the whole network. And Rich was saying that they used to have a combination of devices that they were using, and then they're kind of switching over from more of like a centralized control. And they used to have to run it in two separate systems. So on one side of the convention area, it was like one set of slides and one set of things that was feeding the screens. And then on the other side, it was totally different. So they're trying to get everything to do the same. So that's part of this project. But it was just massive. Crazy, crazy massive project. Really interesting. Like I said, just to see what people are doing with stuff. And let me see if I've got. Where's this photo? It's not really a great picture. Or we can show you this one though. So this is behind that glass that I had said I was standing up there working. It's basically this on every floor. Now this is floor 4 of the lobby. Of course, they have like elevators, and they have balcony seats, and they got all sorts of stuff, right? So when the theater is full on and they're having orchestras, they're having big events, sometimes they do their own shows. All these floors are being used. But yesterday there was an event and only floors 1 and 2 were being used, which, it's funny that, well, anyways, it's crazy that spaces are like this. But they have 4 floors, and every floor has like 6 cocktail bars, as you can see there. Maybe I can zoom in on that. Yeah, so there's like these cocktail bars and places for people to sit. There's a BirdDog Play up behind that screen now. This is the stairwell. You can see like the staircase that like spirals around, takes you up. And then this is like a kind of like an observation area. But if you walk through here, it goes up a few steps, and then there's an outdoor rooftop terrace that goes out, which I didn't take any pictures of. But yeah, crazy. And you can see the ladder I was using sitting right there. Because there's a TV right under there that I was working on. Yeah, the space was just crazy. Really, really huge and overly done. Wow, I took 3 photos yesterday. Good job, John. Good work. I took more pictures on the airplane for my wife than I did of the actual convention that I was at, or the convention center that I was at. But anyway, so there's that. That's where I was yesterday. Pretty remarkable space. and you wouldn't know it from the outside, but the inside is just gorgeous. So until next time, see ya. All right, see you, Jeremy. Thanks for hanging out. That looks like a truly spectacular space. It is amazing what money can buy. It really is. Question: what did they use to drive the content? Central, TriCaster? How do they avoid the EDMI? How do they avoid the HDCP? Is that what you mean? The HDMI did when switching sources. So the way that they were routing it was with a QSys router. And I was kind of talking to them a little bit about how they were doing that because I wanted to know a little bit more EDID HDCP nonsense. Oh, no worries. Okay, so a couple things. So this is one of the things I was going to talk about because today on the show, just because I just had a big long conversation and a great look at how people are thinking about our products and how they're using our products in these spaces, right? So the way that they were routing it was they were taking the sources that were coming in over HDMI and connecting those to minis and spitting that out as full NDI on their network. And then they were sending that in multicast and then sending that out to all their decoders in multicast. So that's a fairly logical way of thinking about NDI. I mean, it makes sense why you would do it that way. The issue really became, though, when it came time. So they're talking about how they're going to implement it. And when it comes time to actually have something going on in the theater, or maybe they have like a theatrical production, like a Broadway show, or they're having something come through, and they're going to take like an intermission, or people are going to go out and get drinks, or they're going to go out and stand in the hallway while the performance is going on. They want to be able to show what's happening in the room up on the screens. So the idea is that there would be like an announcement slide, round and round and round that goes, and then it would spit out. Then when the show started, they would show the cameras in the house on the screens out in the lobby so people could see what's going on in the house, while they're in the lobby. And I love this idea for churches and for other venues other than just performing arts centers, because I think it's a wise way to keep people's attention on what's happening inside the building, right? So you put up TVs, you put on these decoders, and then you send the source that's being recorded or being shown in the house out to those recorders when it's time to do that. So that's what they're doing. And most of the time it's just, cocktail menus at the bars. Each of those bars have at least one TV. And then when and the sitting areas, they just show like program slides, basically just upcoming events and a few other things. And Steve Martin and Martin Short are going to be at that center, by the way, doing their little spiel that they've been on tour doing. So if you're in Orlando or you want to go and see Steve Martin and Martin Short, I don't know why I keep calling him Robert. Robert Lucky is not going to be on stage with Steve Martin. Steve Martin and Martin Short are going to be on stage performing their comedy stuff at the Dr. Phillips Performing Arts Center in the Walt Disney Theater, actually, as I understand it. So that's what they want to do. They want to show the content in the lobby so people who are in the lobby know that things are going on in the house, but also can see what's happening well. Well, then there's conversations about how do we route the audio and all that too, right? So the way that they get around it is, first of all, they don't have HDCP problems because they're not using HDCP encrypted content. So that's how you get around that. Technically, you could strip that out, but I don't recommend it. I recommend that everything you show be original content, or you be approved to distribute it, at least. And typically, if you're approved to distribute it, you'll have a copy that isn't HDCP encrypted. But, all circumstances are different. That's for sure. So they're using Central for a few things, but they're not using it for their routing. They're actually, because they're in multicast configuration, they're pushing sources to each of the plays, which I don't necessarily like. What I would rather them do is to group everything in Central and then just push the single source that way, because they can still operate in multicast, but they could push it that way. Now, the problem becomes when they want to switch sources. And this is where I think they're going to see the most amount of problems. And I talked to them a little bit about this. What they're doing is they're changing sources. Like they're showing the slides, and then when it's time to show the cameras, they're literally pushing the command through QSys to change it. And maybe it'll be automated in the future, I don't know. But what would probably be better is if they use Central and they grouped those screens, into one specific group, and then they pushed the content from, through Central to each of those devices. And then it's just 3 clicks. It's not, a bunch of troubleshooting, but it also, you can expand it or move, take different devices out of groups pretty simply. So it's an easier way to manage it there. The other idea, though, is to have, first the problem. The problem is that when they select a source and they push it to the group, even through Central, guess what's going to happen, right? The screen's going to turn off for a second, break the stream, recommit to the stream, start pulling the data down, and then start over again. And with the added risk that because it's a static network and there is really no routing, I didn't have a say in how the network was designed. Because it's a static network and there really isn't any proper routing, there's a chance that some screens are not going to get the stream every time. And I think we witnessed that yesterday in a couple of instances. So it would be better if you had a single source and it was coming out of a TriCaster, it was coming out of a, I don't know, whatever you want to use for your routing. You could use Zen router for all I care. And you just switch the source in the router. And then you have, in this instance, say like 10 total sources. So you could have 10 routers, right? And then just put the encoders to those routers, but then point all of your source or all your destinations to the single router output, and then just change it on the router. Because what that does is that doesn't break all of the streams, and it cuts over quick. So when it's time to go and you say, okay, I'm going to change over from the slides to the video feed that's going on inside the auditorium, it's instantaneous. And Central can now do that routing. So as Jake demonstrated for us the other day. So that is what I would really recommend them doing. Because from an integration standpoint, it might be you might be just comparing apples to apples. But from a way that the customer's interacting with the product and how they're seeing it, it'll be much cleaner. And so it'll be quicker, it'll be a little more active, and you can even write API commands for Central. Central just has to be running, that's all. Central stops running. That's what their concern was, well, what if Central stops running or if it quits all of a sudden? It's like, well, yes, then nothing would work. But you wouldn't be able to push new sources to the router. Or you wouldn't be able to change the sources in the router because Central would be off. But in theory, it should keep the same feeds because, would it? No, the feeds would break. Anyway, yeah, so you'd have to be really careful with Central, make sure that that's, rock solid. So this is what I was getting at. I've been fighting with a set of screens doing NDI decode out of HDMI with a pair of LG screens. When I flip the sources via the API, the screen shuts off, flickers, and then relocks on. On your suggestion, I installed some EDID dongles, which helped, but it's not a seamless switch. Seems like Central is the way. This is the way. I need the Mandalorian sound effect. Do they have that? Let's find that while I answer. So that's the point, though, right? Central is an NDI switcher, but it's not a video switcher in the sense that like vMix. This is a video switcher. You can do that as fast as you possibly want. It switches the video, but it doesn't break the NDI stream, right? Because I'm sending that video stream. I'm bringing them all in one place, and then I'm cutting it here, and it's just switching over the source. but the NDI stream never stops because this is an NDI output of vMix. So it doesn't break. I'm not sending this camera to StreamYard and then I'm needing to reconnect to the next camera. I'm not doing that. I'm just switching it inside the actual video switcher, and it's instantaneous. And it's all locked in too, right? You can adjust it. We can make sure that everything looks correct. All that sort of good stuff. So video switching and NDI switching are different because NDI is the entire data stream. It's video, it's audio, it's metadata, it's tally, it's a bunch of things. It's comms. So when you cut that video stream or that NDI stream, there's a stop the packet flow command. Packet flow has to stop, has to ping the network, acquire the appropriate stream, make sure that it's all intact, and then start decoding it all. So that process takes 2 or 3 seconds, right? Which is pretty impressive for what it's doing, but it doesn't look great. And so if I want to just switch cameras, I just got to press a button, right? Done. And that's probably the way to do it is if you want to be switching NDI sources, bring it into an actual video switcher. Central will do it. vMix will do it. Wirecast will do it. TriCaster will do it. OBS will do it if you really are on a tight budget. And will OBS output NDI? I think so, right? Yeah, it will. It's just not great. But that's the way that I would recommend doing actual video switching is actually use a video switcher because then it's seamless and the actual stream that's being decoded through the decoder will never change. It'll always be the same. And a matter of fact, you set the resolution to whatever it is you want in a video switcher. So in vMix, I can say 1080p 30 or 1080p 60 or whatever, and that will always send 1080p 60 to this machine. And so when I switch, even if these cameras are not all 1080p 60, it will never change over there. So it's pretty good. It's just a workflow question. It's just like, no, think about it this way. So that's kind of what I was hoping they would get at yesterday is we could make this look and be a lot more consistent for you if you had something generating NDI streams, NDI outputs, and we just changed the sources on those outputs. That would be much better. OBS works reasonably well with NDI. Not flawlessly, but it can be useful too. Yes, OBS is a tool in the toolkit. It may not be the nicest tool in the kit, but it does get the job done sometimes. Morning, John. What's going on, MTash? I just finished teaching my early class, and I've got a story to tell you about my Saturday night stream. Oh, let's hear it. All about that. I've been telling stories all morning, too, so you are welcome to join the party. It's like 3 streams is the magic number for OBS for vMix to start having problems. Is that any better? Yeah, it's a little better. I don't know why it's struggling today to keep a clean stream, but no idea. I was streaming a web radio with graphics for our school's state championship basketball game from Sacramento. ... Hey, folks, so hopefully you are, while we wait for MTash to continue the story here, hopefully you're doing all right and you're able to, if you got questions or you have an NDI problems, feel free to hit us up at help@birddog.tv. My team is all in the office today. They're all working. Even I made it today. And we'll do our best to try and respond to those within a reasonable amount of time. Tickets kind of come and go. There are like ebbs and flows to the year. And so we're not overwhelmed right now. We're playing catch up a fair bit. But my team, look, if you got a genuine issue or problem with the camera or device, reach out to our team. Now, if you're having networking problems and you're having computer problems and, there may not be a ton we can get into about that because those are not necessarily BirdDog things. We can certainly talk about the relationship between those items, but troubleshooting your network and that sort of thing is a little bit outside of the realm of what it is that we're supposed to be doing. So if you're having networking issues, I do strongly recommend that you make a good friend in the integration realm and talk to them about how they're doing it. we can point you in the direction of some of those people. There are great resources over at Broadfield that are very helpful. And also our team of pre-sales guys at BirdDog. So hello@birddog.tv is where you would find them. If you have questions about, hey, here's what I'm thinking I want to do. What do I need to know and have set up in order to achieve that? They'd be happy to tell you, because that will make less work for them and for us. And so if you're open to having the conversation and talking with them, feel free to reach out to Hello. Otherwise, if you've purchased a product and it's giving you some sort of issue or whatever, help@birddog.tv. One thing that my team can't really do is, like if you have complaints, we can certainly take the complaints, but we would just be passing those on to somebody else. So if we're the only avenue that if you have some sort of suggestion or feature adjustment, or I don't know, or just a flat out complaint, you could send that over to help, and we will try and feed that over to the correct partner that would be needing to know that information. But yeah, people are like, oh, you need to fix this feature. And we're like, okay, we'll take a look at it. And then like, well, when will it be done? It's like, no, we're ticketing agents. We're not engineers. It's two different things. And there's a gulf of water between us. So we'll let them know when they wake up. When they get in the office, we'll talk them through it. So do realize that this is not the engineering office. It is a support office. We will do what we can to help you get going. We do promise you that. And I couldn't get our MacBook Pro laptop running Wirecast, so to get a solid internet signal using the 4258 port switch connected to the location's internet via the wire, I was able to get the internet on the other two laptop windows without any problem. I kept trying to get it to work, and then finally I gave up. I have a bug report, and I'll send it over to help, of course. There you go. That would be helpful. Yes, the bugs, you can definitely let us know. We know the QA guy personally, so he's a good dude over in Australia, and he will add it to the list for sure of things that he needs to investigate. But have you seen this? When I recall presets on the P200, the PT speed goes to near 0 until I touch the zoom control. That I haven't seen. One of the agents may have seen that by now, but I recall a preset. The pan tilt speed goes to 0 until I touch. Actually, you know what? I may know about that. I may know of that. Somebody may have mentioned it to me. Yeah, we'll have to look into it. Send the bug over. Oh, catch it up with me now, folks. There it is. My brain's not getting enough oxygen. It's consistent with my A2 and my A4 both on 9.3. Well, see if it's, I think we have 9.4 in the office. So shoot us the bug ticket and say, can I try beta 9.4 before you submit this ticket, and we'll send it to you. Say, John told me I could try 9.4. And then if the agents have a problem with it, they can deal with me. I kept trying to get it to work, and I finally gave up. I decided to download vMix to one of my Windows laptops an hour before the game was to start, and quickly learned enough about it to set it up. Brought in 3 sources, including the overlay graphics, and got it all working. We ended up with over 2,000 viewers and listeners, none the wiser of what I had just went through. Well done. That's a great story. What's the phrase? When you do everything correctly, no one will know that you've done anything at all. The story of a technician. That is the truth. Well done. That's great. Yeah, 9.4 just came out before I got super busy. It's in the general releases. I'll update again before submitting. Okay, cool. Futurama. Yes, that's where it's from. You're right. That's where I heard it. It is Futurama. That's hilarious. Well done. Good reference. MTash, I think you get the gold star for we could make up a trophy like running behind the scenes, holding everything together with crayons and sticky tape. patching it together with vMix at the last minute and learning a new platform. And everyone's like, wow, looks like you've been doing it for years. Futurama. When you do things right. Yes. How long is 16 seconds? Don't play me a commercial. I don't care about Tom Brady. Boo. Boo. I don't care about Hertz rental cars with Tom Brady. Is he hard up for money or something? Didn't he just isn't he a good football player at some point? When you do things right, the line is, when you do things right, people won't be sure that you've done anything at all. Oh, that's great. That is great. I'm going to try and get that soundbite. I got my hoodie. Nice. MX rules. What's going on? It's about time. You've been asking for a hoodie for a long time. My boss calls me MacGyver. Yeah, isn't that... yesterday, I walked into the server room and they're having like all these issues. And I walked in and Robert's issue went away. Like he was trying to get to like a play interface or something. He couldn't figure it out. So I like walked in and I like touched his computer and the web interface came up. And then I walked over to Richard and he's like, I'm having a hard time. And I like touched his keyboard and it started working. I was like, good night, everybody. Just have that way with machines, I guess. He's like, of course, when you showed up, everything started working. And I said, that's funny. Senseless says that to me all the time. It frustrates him to no end. What was the other? I said there was another soundbite that I was going to get. It's like a soundtrack or something. Now I can't remember. I'll have to go back and listen to the show. Nice thing is these are all recorded. So there you go. And you could also go back and listen to all of the shows all over again to relive every BirdDog Jon moment to its fullest. Senseless says, what frustrates me? I had to step away for a minute. Yeah. No, you didn't step away. You just weren't listening. I was traveling in a trade show. Oh, there you go. That's typically how you get them, is you run into Eamon or somebody. What frustrates you is I show up and touch the keyboard in which the device is malfunctioning, and all of a sudden it starts working. I did that twice yesterday. It was great. I think both times in that instance I didn't do anything. So we just had to wait. That was the secret sauce, was just wait a little bit and it'll start working again. But I didn't tell them that. I just said, there you go. Seems to be back up and running. They're like, what'd you do? You're like, well, if I told you that, you wouldn't pay me. So your tech aura. It's going to run out one day. You're all going to find out that this is just a total fraud. And there's actually nothing. It's just me waiting longer than you did to get it to work. Me sitting down and going, oh, what was that all about? Hopefully it comes up in the next few minutes and I can give it back to him. That is my life. Oh, good times. All right, what are we at here? 12:30. Wow, I'm still awake. I don't know how I did that. I've been eating. I had a crumble cookie when I got here, a half of a crumble cookie, and there was so much sugar and icing and sugar on that cookie that I think that's what I'm running on. I definitely feel like the fog setting in. So this is not going to be a long afternoon for me. The issue is that I still don't have a vehicle because a few weeks ago I got in a car accident. And I'm sorting that out with the insurance company right now. This will be fun. Sorting it out with the insurance company and waiting to find out if I'm going to have a vehicle soon. So in the meantime, I need to wait for my wife to get done with school, which means I'm at least here till 3:30, probably 4 o'clock at the earliest before I can go home. Unless I want to Uber home. I say Uber like the Australians because I think it's funny. They're always, we're going to get ourselves an Uber. So I got an Uber from the airport, and now if I really wanted to go home and like call it a day, I guess I could do that. Let's find out how much that would cost. Let's see. From here to home, where do you want to go? Home. I mean, always, but it's $30. No, $25. $24. That's not terrible, actually. I could probably pay that myself if I was just completely dead tired. But yeah. Hey, by the way, we won the state open division championship. Boom! Well done, MTash. Well done. Hey, that reminds me. Where is... Wait, didn't... I thought I saw... Yeah, GoWeb. Greetings from India. What's going on, GoWeb? How are you? Hopefully you and Sanaya are doing well. Hey, I missed last week's live. I was out celebrating Sanaya's birthday. Oh, well, that's a good reason to miss the show for sure. Happy birthday, Sanaya. Hopefully you are going to have a great new year. Always a pleasure. Agreed. Home is the best. Yes, I'm an introvert at heart. And when I go away for a couple of days and I do like work stuff, man, I cannot wait to get home. I usually get to my destination. I'm like, man, I can't wait to go home. The last time, well, I was in Vegas, and it was like the first night, and I was like, yep, I'm ready to come back home. My wife was like, you're in Vegas, like with your work buddies, like, you want to be fun? I was like, yeah, but you don't understand how much I like being home. I don't mind being away. Vegas, I don't care for. And Robert really did not like Orlando. I don't specifically know why, but he doesn't like Vegas or Orlando. So it was kind of a doozy of a trip for him because typically we only travel to Vegas together. So anyway, Orlando was okay. It was a little strange when we were walking the streets at 9:00 at night. That was because it is a big city and it has all the big city problems that big cities have. But yeah, it's a nice area. And from the big giant glass windows that I was looking at Orlando through yesterday, it looked beautiful. It's nice air conditioned. It was 75 degrees yesterday in Orlando. Now I didn't step outside. It was certainly warm enough when we showed up at 8:00 in the morning. So we walked from the hotel at 7:50 to 8:00, and it's literally a 10-minute walk. And we got there, and I was already warm. And we went and put our stuff down, and I said, I'm not wearing this sweater today. So I took this off, and I had on a BirdDog shirt, thankfully. That would have been awkward if I didn't have a shirt on. And I just worked in a T-shirt all day and thought, wow, this is March? That's strange. And this is like their slow season right now. So it's crazy. I am getting messages here that I probably need to attend to. Yoinks. Okay. Sorry, everybody. Just wanted to update. Oh, it was a Mandalorian. Thanks for the reminder. Let's see if I can find. I want that Mandalorian sound effect. The Mandalorian sound effect. Everybody knows which one we're talking about, right? The Mandalorian sound effect. Is it this one? I found it. That took me all of 3 seconds. All right, let's open that on the YouTube. Excellent. And then we're going to TUBE. All right. Let's see if we can get this sound effect. Wants to send me. Why does this website want to send me notifications? I don't like that. I don't want to get notifications from random websites. Oh, yeah. Deceptive sight ahead. Yeah, that sounds safe. So I'm not going to go there. Okay, now we're going to open up the trusty dusty. Say it with me now. Stream Deck. All right, and then we're going to say, I want to play a sound. Play audio. Oh, you know what? Just duplicate this one. Copy. Paste. Sweet. Mando. Change the file to... Where is it here? This one. Twitch files, sounds. Can I show in folder? Cut. Paste. Bob's your uncle. And paste. Wait, no. No. There we go. Wow, this is quite the journey that you guys are on with me. Play, no fade, cable. Got it. This is the way. And I got it. Yep. I love that my sound effect board is 2 pages deep. It's just been growing over the ages. And oh, it's great. This is the way. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, Angus. Yes, indeed. Oh, I love that. That's just a little push of the button now. So now last week's ad was
hold on to your butts.
John has spoken. Maybe we could get into the habit of like adding a sound effect like once a week or something. I feel like that's a reasonable expectation for this show, right? What else we got on here? The Inception sound. Good stuff, everybody. Well, I'm looking forward to a productive week. We have a lot ahead of us. The sands are shifting, put it that way. And there is a lot to talk about, and there's a lot to do. So we are excited about the future. March is well underway. We're halfway done March as of tomorrow. And is it tomorrow? Today's the 14th, right? So we are, my son's birthday is this week. That's pretty exciting stuff. So we are halfway through. After tomorrow, after the 16th, I guess, technically, then we would be through. But you'll see me again probably on Thursday. That's when I plan to rejoin your presence. So we will see everybody again on Thursday. Hey, you're going to have hoodies at NAB? I don't know what is going to be at NAB, or who for that matter. So that's all still up in the air and being decided. And I don't know what merch will be there. I don't know what products will be there. I have no idea. I've been, let's just say I've been focused on a specific project up until now. And actually, I've been focused on 3 projects up until now. 4 projects up until now. And now it's going to go down to 3. And then NAB is not on that list yet. So it's the middle of March. We should probably start shipping some stuff because NAB is going to come up quick, eh? So, hey, it's pie day. Eat some pie. Do McDonald's pies count? Because they have this like blueberry one right now. That's like meh. It's kind of meh. It's kind of, meh. Kind of meh. So there we go, folks. Come back on Thursday. We'll do this again. I'm looking forward to hanging out again, and hopefully I will be a little bit more attentive, and I won't have just stepped off an airplane. Oh my goodness, I pray I will not have just stepped off an airplane on Thursday. Because, yeah, there's a lot there. So, sure, why not? they're technically pies, right? We should do a snacks on stream with. Actually, on Thursday, I think Balu has snacks on stream planned already because he asked me today, "Hey, do you want something for today?" And I said, "No, I'm going to drink coffee today." And he's like, "No problem. I got you on Thursday." So he's got something planned for me on Thursday. So at least come back for snacks on stream on Thursday, if not for this riveting content that I know you have been thoroughly enjoying. I mean, I've been having fun. I hope you guys have had a little bit of fun. But now you know what's going on. And on Thursday, we'll be back. We'll do snacks on stream. We'll talk more NDI stuff. I will put my brain around maybe demonstrating something. I don't know what you guys want me to cover. But we should talk more about workflow stuff. Let me think about this Florida install. And then I will maybe do something with Central and kind of show you here are some alternative ways to think about installing. Because integrators and installers, like, it is really up to them to decide how this is going to work. And if they, like last night we talked about, why would we implement Discovery Server? And it was really just a matter of like, he just didn't know what Discovery Server was. And it's true. No one talks about that. Well, we do here, but nobody, he's not attending this show. So nobody talks about why that might be beneficial. And so I had a chat with him about that. Maybe he got a little bit too excited about Discovery Server yesterday. But I had a little chat with him about that, and then we'll see. Like, if things are not as consistent as he wants on his full-on static network, maybe we implement Discovery Server or something like that. But we shall see. So there you go. There's maybe we'll talk a little bit more about that. Let me think about that. Let me rest for a little bit, and then on Thursday I should be a little bit more alert and ready to chat with you about that. So. All right, guys, I am going to wrap it up, and I suspect that my team is probably going to have a few questions for me this afternoon, so I'm going to work through those. And then my wife says the latest she'll pick me up is 4:30. So I might have to have a nap in my office. We'll see. She has a meeting, so it's either that or I just get an Uber home, which doesn't sound so bad. But I did. I booked everything. I woke up early. I did all of this so I could do this show. There's a little thing. It's like I wanted to come back and be sure that this show happens because it's good times. And so it's been an early day, but it's totally worth it. And I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me today, spending some time over here. And whoever is going on Facebook and saying, "Hey, this question is something that John talks about often on his show. You should check it out." If that's you, thanks so much. I see that. I see you doing that. It's really hard to promote yourself. It just sounds weird when you do that. And so if you guys that are saying nice things about the BirdDog and the support guys, particularly when you send compliments or put them up on Facebook, we see those things and we really appreciate it. So thanks for being so kind. Nap time. I have spoken. Uber home sounds like a good idea. I've done that. Sleep in your office. Yeah, I might. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. All right, guys. I will relieve you of your obligation to stay on the show and watch. So thank you so much for hanging out with us. I do really appreciate it. Honestly, it's one of the best parts of my week is getting on here and chat with you guys. So thanks for hanging out with me, and take care of yourselves. Certainly take care of others. And we'll see you guys in a couple of days. Take it easy. Bye.